Right. So, Anand, welcome to the second episode of Agents of Security, where we cut through the noise and get to the first principles of cybersecurity. And I am Neha Garg, and here we are always talking with the leaders who are shaping the future of cybersecurity. So, Anand, you are the field CISO at E Plus and work directly with CISOs and enterprises navigating complex threats and industry transformations. So, we are very excited to talk with you to get your perspective from both sides of the world. So to kick things off, since you work both, see both the big picture and the nitty gritty, how do you align the security strategies with board and executives' priority? From your perspective, also, like, what do you think is working and what's not working?
Okay, I think yeah. I need to preface with some background where I come from. Granted, right now I'm in a field CISO role. Many people may not even understand what that means. So I want to clarify that it's basically a role where you've been a practitioner, you've been on the operational role, but now you are working more on the solutions provider advisory, whatever capacity where you're actually helping other practicing CISOs navigate all the noise out there and trying to get the best outcomes in whatever fashion, right? Like maybe you can help them more in reference architecture or trying to get the best pricing and whatnot. So that's my current role. But I have also been in a more regulated operational role where I had to run the cyber GRC program, be the person who's reporting cyber risk to the board, and I'm very much familiar with translating the operational nitty-gritties to the various stakeholders, like from board to federal examiners, because I've been in banks, so they are heavily audited and regulated, multiple layers of defense. I've been in the shoes of the first line, second line defense. Worked heavily with the internal audit folks. So
Yeah,
happy to chime in from that perspective as well.
awesome. So, what do you think? Like when you work with the CISOs and on that side of the world and helping them navigate the complex industry, like what do you think helps them select the right vendor or select the right product for their environment. Yeah, and
Yeah.
what do you think are the red flags for them?
So first of all, I don't think trying to start with the vendor in mind is going to end well. You obviously
Mhm.
want to break down your business priorities and how the security program is aligned with the business goals. So obviously, you're thinking about the best outcomes for your security program, depending on which stage your company is in, and you want to have a tightly knit security strategy program with a bunch of initiatives. Then it becomes a conversation of, okay, these are my end goals, and it's not going to happen in the next few weeks. It's going to take multi-year strategy. So
Mhm.
what are the things I want to bring into mix? Given my tech debt, nobody walks into an environment with a clean slate. So I
Mhm.
try to understand what tech debt already exists. What are the tools you've already invested a lot in? Because it might be people are already trained on it. People have done a lot of automations. So I don't want to just go and rip and replace just for the sake
Mhm.
of it.
Mhm.
I'm always looking for like tools and other automation plays that can actually give you much better ROI on your existing investments, right? So
Mhm.
that's always the first thing that I would look for. What else? What is the low hanging fruit for you to make your tools work better? And finally, I think we have a way to do that using more agentic AI. In the traditional world, it was always let's hire some fancy consultant, pay them $1,000 a buck, and hopefully they'll figure out, right? Never
Mhm.
happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really hopeful that the agentic AI world will bring that orchestration layer for
Yeah.
what already exists. But as we navigate through the pain points and we have nailed down the requirements, we know which tools have the current capabilities or they have the right kind of vision and roadmap to evolve into some kind of a tech stack that you're looking for. Then we
Mhm.
get involved in not only through the POCs of defining the requirements and facilitating the actual evaluations as a neutral vendor.
Mhm.
I'm also like trying to figure out whether it's like from overall strategy standpoint, do you have the right kind of resources in house to
Mhm.
implement it?
Mhm.
What kind of business partnerships or other third parties we can bring into the mix to make the
Mhm.
entire journey as painless as possible, right? That's the value add that I bring into my other practicing CISOs.
Makes sense. That's so exciting. And so, do you also help? I'm assuming, like in your role, you also interact with a lot of non-security executives as well. Like when you're working with the CISOs, how do you make sure that they get aligned to your priorities and the CISO's priorities? Like what KPIs resonate with them, what metrics resonate with them? Um,
Oh, yeah. The KPIs is another interesting topic. I've been in the middle of like trying to tell the story the way the board wants to see, because it's all you can tell all the different threats that you defended, and you can talk about the amount of automation and amount of hours you've saved for your stock analyst. But the board really doesn't care about it, right? Like they want to get the true business metric, like what have you done to make sure that we are secure? Are we 100% secure? That's where they're going to start. Why are we not 100% secure? Or if some incident had happened, they just want to get to the root cause, like how can we make sure that it doesn't happen again? And you have to embrace the fact that like today's organizations are so fragile. You have to assume breach. You have to consider that as the minimum business risk you're willing to accept, and try to work from that baseline. Like how can you still be resilient? You are going to get hit once in a while, and how are you building your own processes to quickly detect these threats and compromises, and make sure that you don't end up in the first page of your national news, right? So there's a huge gray area of of navigating that. So my stories to the board is always around overall health of the program. And this the simple analogy is you go to a doctor and do a physical exam. They have some basic vital signs they look at, and they can be 99% certain that you're not going to die tomorrow, right? That's the mentality that I go in. Like these are the vital signs, everything looks good, and let's move on to the things that we are implementing in the strategic side, right? Like the operational side is the boring part, right? Like how many threats have we defended? What is the MTTR of all of these like various incidents we have responded? Can we optimize it? All that is table stakes, but I want to spend maybe like 5 minutes on that. Okay, this is where we are. Everything looks good, but here are the strategic things we are investing in. We need to really go zero trust, and it doesn't happen today. It's a 5-year journey, and this is how long it takes, and these are all the things we need to get right from a people, process, technology standpoint. Yes, we can pick a vendor, but that's only like 10% of the journey, right? So I try to tell the story from that standpoint, and also align it with the business, where the business is leading. What are the trends I'm seeing? Companies are becoming more and more. The future of work is changing. There's companies are hiring people all over the world. So people have to really tell the story of how the threats are also evolving in that sense, from a traditional data center centric or perimeter centric world to now people are accessing resources everywhere. There's your crown jewels end up in all the SaaS environments. And none of this can be solved without having that zero trust vision or like a long-term mentality. So I want to spend most of my storytelling to the board around that, rather than the operational aspects of it. I hope that makes sense.
That makes sense. That's 100%. I think what we are seeing as we're talking with the CISOs, I think at different level, in the organizations, different metrics I think matter, right? Like when we're talking with the stock leaders and managers, like for them it's still about my analyst efficiency and MTTR. But as we go up and talk to the CISOs, that's where they're like, okay, tell me the impact on my business, right? Like how does it translate to the actual business metrics? So yeah, it's a point on from that perspective. So from that perspective, you see a lot of noise in the AI stock market today, from like the co-pilots to vendors claiming autonomous stock agents. From your perspective, where it is like Gen AI is actually making the impact, and where it is more of a hype right now?
Okay, first of all, we are way past the Gen AI hype, right? That's like 2 years old. Now we are in the agentic AI.
Yeah, agentic, yeah.
Right? So people somehow assume that you can bring an agent and that can replace some low-level tier 1, tier 2 roles, right? Which is very. I mean, at this point, it is still I would say yet to be proven for many reasons. Obviously, it's not 100% deterministic model, so people are going to rush into the implementations, and then with a bunch of data, they're going to realize, okay, we probably should have had more human in the loop, right? That balance somebody has to achieve only after trial and error. So that's how I see. I think we're definitely seeing AI thrown into every single process. The same happened in the past too. Like when RPA became the first trend, people just assumed, okay, we're going to get all these amazing productivity gains, and it becomes like the tone from the top. Like the board is going to force you, okay, we are assuming based on what I'm hearing from the street, you will have 20% productivity gains. So show me the results, and then you work towards making that a reality, right? You have no other choice. So that's how I see now. Even today, the companies are pretty much like trying to make that a reality, because it's the tone from the top. Where is the productivity gain? Like I need to somehow show for it.
Yeah, and with the MIT results showing that 95% of the pilots are not working, so there has to be like definitely concrete way for vendors to show that immediately.
I think that's perfectly fine, because the whole industry is hyped up on that, and there's all kinds of investments is going based on this thesis of productivity gains, right? Like all the NVIDIAs and the big foundation models are like valued based on all the future productivity that'll unlock. So
Mhm.
if everybody is thinking that that's the future and pouring more and more money,
Mhm.
you're going to eventually realize that, right? So
Mhm.
that's how I see it. But it takes time. It takes time. Like today's technology is not that robust. But
Mhm.
even if you take an analogy of the Teslas and Waymos, people had that vision like 10, 20 years ago, and they had to keep on
Iterating.
pumping in money and iterate, and eventually, like now, we seem to have it, right? It's
Mhm.
going to be the same model that's applied to every walk of life. Today, you completely trust your Waymo car doing almost everything autonomous, but you don't even realize there's a human in the loop somewhere in the cloud who's monitoring your Waymo
Mhm.
car and if it's doing something stupid, right?
Mhm.
And that's going to be the same case with SOC or any
Mhm.
kind of automation that you're looking at.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to come from your own business teams. It could be like anything that's more of an industry best practice. You don't want to solve it in-house in your business. You probably want to have people who understand more of the business side of it and automate for that. Everything
Mhm.
else, which is a common use case, we want to assume that the agent is already trained on it. It's continuously iterating on it to get better. And there
Mhm.
is a human in the loop somewhere in the cloud who is enforcing the guardrails and making sure that you have certain level of repeatability. Because ultimately, the agents are just making wild guesses. You just
Mhm.
want to enforce the fidelity metric to make sure that it passes the normal Turing test, right? Like, is it better
Mhm.
than a human? Even humans are flawed. So as
Yeah.
long as these machines are able to do it slightly better than humans, you have it.
So on that note, on the fun side, if you could have your one wish that of the task that you want to get automated through agents, what would that be for you?
Oh gosh. Okay. Is it personal, or like, I know like you guys are trying to solve something on the
Yeah.
soft side, but on a personal front, I'm always chasing for my own personal assistant co-pilot, right? If that can take away a lot of my grunt work on a day-to-day
Mhm.
basis, be it, like scheduling your own time and keeping yourself on toes of your priorities for the day, that'll
Mhm.
be an amazing agentic play. But
Mhm.
yeah, but that's the hardest part, right? Like, because every
Mhm.
human is different and the use cases are wide. But if you can first prove it on use cases that are well understood and have a common playbook, then it becomes the foundation on which you can build more agents that have a uh, lot more free will, right? Like,
Mhm.
that's how I see it. Like, you have to first use it on use cases that is very well understood, and
Mhm.
the outcomes are also pretty much ones and
Predictable.
zeros.
Yeah.
And then eventually you will have agents that has a lot of subjectivity involved.
Mm, yeah. And that's what we are seeing as well with some of our customers. Like we start with, okay, tell us the lowest hanging fruit where you think, without much human in the loop, you can still trust the agent. Having them first build the trust with the agents is like, I think the first win. And then you start thinking about more complex flows and more complex tasks. Yeah. So point on that one. All right. So how would you advise CISOs? How can they best balance efficiency gains from automation while maintaining that trust and human oversight? Like, what guardrails do you think they should put in place for that?
So again, when it comes to efficiency gains, it's agentic AI is not the first time you're trying to solve for that, right? This has been one of the primary investment areas or drivers for any CTO, CIO in a big company. They have a mandate of okay, I have all this cool technologies, and I don't want to keep end up doing the same task again and again. And that's how all the RPA use cases came, all the workflow automation, business process automation. Everything is predicated on like, how can I make the IT work like magic, right?
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
yeah, you just want the outcomes. You don't want to click a bunch of buttons and
That's right.
like in the process of getting to make IT work. So with
Mhm,
that team, I think the guardrails that I see on enforcing it is trying to like imagine the future of work and give that experience back to your stakeholders. So in any corporate setting, I see only like 3 or 4 major personas, right, that you're trying to solve for. Number one, customer is the king. Customer experience. How can I make the customer experience as frictionless as possible?
mhm.
And nowadays, everybody wants to have a cool chatbot that can be their
Yeah.
number one front end, but it comes with its own problems. Like, we've seen
Mhm,
some early rushed rollouts and agents hallucinating and putting companies at risk. Now people are dialing back. I mean, let's do the
mhm,
internal use cases first before we open up anything to the wild. The second best use case is more operational efficiency, because ultimately businesses have to be more efficient to make more money in the bottom line. So
mhm,
you know that all CFOs are going to be excited about it. Like, when you show
mhm,
an agent that can give you some money back on the table. So
mhm,
so that's, I mean, from a priority standpoint, customer experience, operational efficiency. Third might be the internal employee productivity. Like, everybody
mhm.
has to be more productive in trying to find internal documents. And so the majority of the guardrails I see people are playing around now is on the employee side, internal productivity side, which is the low risk environment,
Yes.
right? Like
Yeah.
yeah, you can failure is an option there.
Yeah.
You can fail, learn from it.
Yeah.
And the one area that I'm also seeing more and more excitement is the developer side of it. Because
Yes.
many companies are now more nimble. Everybody is a developer in in a
Yes.
modern architecture. So
Yeah.
if you can make the developer's experience simple, it's gonna multiply the pace at which people can reinvent and create more features, more products. So that is again is I already see that happening with all the productivity gains from Gen AI and agentic in the cursors of the world and GitHub. So it's
Yeah.
both it's both good and bad. Like so many people are gonna have to reinvent their jobs.
Yeah,
They're not gonna be coders
yeah,
anymore.
yeah. Even like for us, like having worked at Google, I've seen like that Waymo story, right? So right now there is some like public data around like how for every 10 Waymos there is a one human operator looking at that cloud data and managing the Waymos are not going out of the out of the way. I feel like it would probably translate into something similar for a lot of these agentic flows as well.
No, it's funny that I mean we have already solved some of the harder use cases where there is real societal harm and personal harm,
Mhm.
and from a think about a stock automation, it's not nearly comparable to the kind of harm Waymo's have, right?
Yeah.
So I think we are still very late to the game, like in security,
Mhm.
uh, because of again it's more of the will from the industry, right? Like I see the entire security industry is flawed because they are all following the same VC playbook. They want to find one small problem they can patch and have something that's of valuable they can quickly sell and exit. Nobody is willing to put their time and effort on a more of a platform
Yeah.
play, right? And
Yeah.
everybody is driven by economics, and I don't think that's going to change.
Anytime
Even
soon.
for Google, like
Yeah.
if I had to bet one company which would dream big to solve like broader fundamental issues with security, even for Google, they had to go and buy up another random company to fill the holes they had in their own Google's security ecosystem. So
Mm.
that's just the way economy
Yeah, that's
works.
how the market is working right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully Palo Altos of the world are able to have that successful story around platformization. Hopefully that changes some of it. Yeah, I think with that we can open up for. I know like we have 3 minutes left, so open up for questions from the audience if anyone has some questions for Anand. Um, anyone? You can raise your hands if you have any questions.
I don't even see people raising their hands. That's okay.
Yeah,
But we can
yeah, we
always
can.
continue the chat offline in any other fashion. I'm more than happy to connect and chat.
Yeah.
And thank you for this opportunity to just have a friendly fireside chat, and best wishes for what you guys are building to.
Thank you so much, Anand, for taking time from your busy schedule. I know like this week has been crazy for you and will continue to be crazy over the weekend, but really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us and share your perspective with us. All right. With that, I think we can wrap this up. Well, thank you so much.